Hey guys, Dave here. I figured it was time I finally do another review since it has been a while with me being out of town finishing up the Creed splits. So without further ado, let's finally get back to a review. What I have on review for you today, I've already reviewed the original, and you guys know I really care for this stuff, so I thought I would go ahead and do the review, and that is L'instant De Guerlain, the Extreme Eau de Parfum version. This is a tester that I found, well, someone helped me find, but bottle's fairly similar to the original, just black around the edges is really the only difference. As you can see, both of mine were testers, or at least unboxed. I don't remember if the original is. Original was just unboxed, it wasn't a tester, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway, this was released a year after the original in 2005. The perfumer is Beatrice Piquet. As far as notes, the only note breakdown I could find was on Fragrantica. I'm not sure if it's right, but I'll give it to you anyway. On top, you have crystal citruses, anise, and elemi. In the mid, neroli, patchouli flower, jasmine, and lapsang tea. The base of cedar, Mysore sandalwood, cocoa, hibiscus seed, and patchouli. As far as bottle sizes, there are two, 2.5 75ml, which is this guy, and the 4.2. They'll run you anywhere from, if you're lucky, you can find it on a bottle being sold on base notes for $50, upwards of well over $100, because it's getting very hard to find as it was a limited edition. As far as classification, to me it's a mature, gourmandish, woody oriental. It's a subtle gourmand. It's deeper and darker than the original to me. As far as what I get on the top, it starts out darker than the original with the citrus toned way down to the background instead of being very citric at the beginning like the original is. Mostly get a dry, bitter cocoa accord with hints of citrus and woods. It stays this way on me for quite a while. The scent to me is much more linear than the original. The original goes through quite a few more phases. This one, the cocoa is the main player pretty much all the way through on my skin. When it gets to the mid, the cocoa gets more pronounced. It starts becoming the main attraction, which it kind of was in the beginning, but it's even more so in the mid. It does get a touch sweeter, but it's not an overly sweet cocoa. It's more dry and bitter. I do get a smooth tea note, but it's in the background. It's definitely there, but you kind of have to look for it, at least to me. I do still get a touch of the anise, but without the usual licorice underneath it. Anise usually kind of has that licoricey vibe. This anise does not. The cocoa, as I've said, is bitter, but it also has some sweetness to it. To me, it's a similar cocoa vibe as Dior Homme Intense. I also start to pick up the woods more and more in the mid as well, with creamy sandalwood and a touch of cedar. As it gets to the dry down, it keeps the dry cocoa going, and the sandalwood and cedar get a little bit more pronounced, but they're still just supporting the cocoa accord. I also do get a bit of musk from the hibiscus seed as well. It can get a bit powdery in the dry down, but to me this is much drier throughout than the original, if that makes sense. Throughout the life of the fragrance, the main attraction, I've said, is the bittersweet cocoa. That's what this guy is about. But it's blended just as well as its older brother, which you know I really like. It's just drier, darker, and much longer lasting. I would say that this is best for formal events, probably nights out. I can see it worn for work and school because it's not huge on projection and has great longevity, and it's a very pleasing smell. So I can see it working for most things. As far as what women say, it does really well with women over 25. Women over 25 really like this one. As far as age range, I would say because of the cocoa, I would say 20 and up can pull this off, but it is a more mature type of gourmandish scent. As far as number of sprays, this is an eau de parfum, so at most 3. It's potent, it lasts. I usually do, from far away, one miss on the chest, one on like the back of the neck, and then one on an arm, and then press the arms together generally. But usually I do two, depending on, especially if I'm going to work or school, I do two. Who would like this? I think that if you like dry cocoa that's not overly sweet, gourmand type of fragrances, to me this is not a true gourmand, but that cocoa is almost edible. It's kind of borderline, if that makes sense. Sandalwood and also cedar. As I've said, the cocoa is the most dominant, but the woods are second to me. Why would you not care for this? I think if you dislike dry cocoa, woods, or gourmands, then just avoid outright. I think obviously if you like the original, you'll probably care for this. I'm also going to say Dior Homme Intense and Terry Mugler's Angel Men. What do I think of when I wear this? Same thing as the original. A cup of hot chocolate by the fire. That's about it. As far as ratings, overall smell, I'm going to give this overall smell a 10 out of 10. I absolutely love this one. To me, it's the original perfected to my current taste. Who knows what my taste will be like a year from now. As far as projection, I'll give it like a 9. It projects well, but it's not like a huge attention whore like Dior Homme Intense is. It doesn't jump across the room, at least on my skin. As far as longevity, it's going to get a 10 out of 10. I get a ridiculously long time with this. I easily get 10 plus hours every time. Generally, I'm getting between 12 and I've gotten upwards of 18 with this one. It lasts very, very well. As far as uniqueness, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Considering the original is similar, it's not super unique. Plus, L'instant was one of my early reviews, and I'm a lot harsher on fragrances now. But versatility, I'll give it an 8. It's solid, but it's best for fall and winter. As I said, I can see it being worn for school or work, but I think it's best for nights out and formal events. Like a evening wedding in the fall, I think this would be perfect for. Overall, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. I absolutely love this fragrance, but I can't quite give it a 10 due to its versatility. Had I reviewed this one first before I did the original, I probably would have given this one the 10 and this one the 9.5. Because I'd already discovered this when I discovered this, so it's not as original to me. But I do think if you love Dior Homme Intense and you can find a bottle of this, it's definitely worth checking out. It's much drier, darker, less citric version of L'instant De Guerlain, the original. And it's one of my personal favorite fragrances. As far as buy, try, or pass, I think if you can find it, it's a definite buy, because it's getting very, very hard to find. So, that is my take on L'instant De Guerlain Extreme, the Eau de Parfum version. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and please rate, comment, and subscribe.